The afternoon sunlight poured through the blinds, casting slanted shadows across my small apartment. I sat at my desk, laptop open, scrolling through the endless noise of social media, half listening to Emma on the phone. Her laughter drifted from the speaker, light and teasing, as she told me about her day. Emma was one of those people who seemed to live life in color, while I often felt like I was stuck in grayscale, trying to keep up. I glanced down at my hands, noting the faint calluses from typing, the traces of nervous energy that never seemed to leave me. My life was ordinary, predictable, safe. Office work, late-night gaming sessions, and the occasional meetup with Emma. Yet beneath the surface, there was another side of me that I had only explored in the quiet of my room, my fascination with crossdressing. It wasn't something I shouted from the rooftops. It was a secret indulgence, a thrill I couldn't quite explain, a curiosity that tugged at me every time I glimpsed a pretty outfit in a store window. Emma and I had been dating for a year, and while our relationship was playful and affectionate, she had this tendency to push boundaries in subtle ways. She was confident, radiant, and had a peculiar way of noticing things about me that I didn't even notice about myself. That curiosity of hers, paired with her love for teasing, had become both a comfort and a source of tension. Sometimes I wondered if she would ever truly understand the private cravings I kept hidden beneath my daily routine. It started with a joke, or so I thought. One Saturday, Emma had flopped onto my couch, arms stretched above her head, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "You'd make the cutest twin sister," she said casually, as if it were the most normal observation in the world. I froze, unsure how to respond. The words hung in the air, light but loaded. "Twin sister?" I repeated, my voice betraying my surprise. She nodded, tilting her head. "Yeah, imagine it. You and me, matching outfits, matching hairstyles, it'd be adorable." I laughed nervously, brushing off the comment, but inside, a strange mixture of excitement and anxiety coiled in my stomach. It wasn't just a joke to me. It was an idea that planted itself firmly in my mind, growing bolder with every passing day. From that moment, I couldn't stop thinking about what it would be like to step into that role, even just briefly. To wear the clothes Emma adored, to style myself in her fashion, to see her eyes light up in delight. The fantasy wasn't just about the outfits or makeup. It was about embodying someone else, blending our identities in a way that was thrilling, intoxicating, and undeniably forbidden. My apartment became my sanctuary. I started experimenting cautiously, borrowing skirts, tops, and accessories whenever Emma left for work, sneaking a peek at her makeup, practicing subtle touches that transformed my reflection in ways that surprised even me. The first time I wore one of her skirts, the sensation of fabric brushing my legs was electric. The mirror didn't just show a different version of me, it showed a possibility, a version of myself I hadn't allowed to exist openly. Yet along with the thrill came fear. What if Emma found out I'd taken her things without permission? What if she laughed at me, or worse, judged me? The line between excitement and shame blurred every time I caught a glimpse of myself, perfectly disguised in her clothes, perfectly embodying this new persona. I was both Ryan and someone else, someone lighter, more playful, and undeniably feminine. Despite the anxiety, I couldn't resist. Each day, I found myself planning these secret sessions, calculating the perfect moments when Emma would be gone, my heart racing as I slipped into her world. The thrill wasn't just in the clothes, it was in the secrecy, the double life, the delicious danger of being caught. And deep down, a small, rebellious part of me yearned for more, craving a time when I could merge this private indulgence with the playful affection of the woman I loved. It was during one of these afternoons, mid-experiment, that Emma returned unexpectedly. My heart stopped. I was adjusting a dress, fumbling with a wig, when she leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, a smile playing on her lips. "Ryan, or should I say my sister?" she asked, her tone teasing but strangely knowing. My cheeks burned as I froze, caught between panic and exhilaration. Her eyes sparkled with amusement and something else I couldn't quite place, approval, curiosity, delight. The air between us shifted, charged with a tension that was both terrifying and intoxicating. It was the moment I realized that this secret of mine wasn't just a private indulgence anymore. It had the power to redefine our relationship, to blur lines in ways I hadn't imagined. From that day on, everything changed. Emma started calling me her sister in private, a playful title that carried weight far beyond its simplicity. Each nickname, each teasing glance, each shared secret made the thrill more intense, more consuming. My reflection in the mirror was no longer just a reflection. It was a promise, a challenge, a doorway into a world where I could explore the deepest corners of my desires while navigating the tightrope of love, secrecy, and identity. And so, my ordinary life, the office, the gaming, the quiet evenings, began to fracture, opening up into a double existence I couldn't resist. I was Ryan, her boyfriend, the careful, predictable man she thought she knew. But I was also her sister, her twin, her playful reflection in heels and skirts, navigating a thrilling, dangerous, and undeniably seductive secret world. Little did I know, this innocent game, this playful indulgence, would soon spiral into a suspenseful, emotional journey where the stakes were higher than ever, where every choice mattered, and where one misstep could reveal everything I had hidden. And so, the stage was set. The ordinary was about to collide with the extraordinary. My life, once predictable, now teetered on the edge of discovery, desire, and transformation. The days after Emma's teasing remark were a blur of anticipation, secret planning, and quiet experimentation. Every afternoon became a calculated gamble. I would wait for the exact moment when Emma left for work or her weekend errands, checking the clock obsessively before making my move. The thrill of knowing I had a limited window to explore this hidden part of myself made my heart race. It started small. A borrowed skirt folded neatly on my chair, one of Emma's pastel blouses tucked carefully into my drawer. I would hesitate in front of the mirror, my reflection awkward at first, unsure if I could pull this off. But as I adjusted the blouse, smoothed the fabric over my shoulders, and ran my hands down the skirt, a rush of exhilaration surged through me. I was no longer just Ryan the boyfriend. I was someone new, someone playful, delicate, and daring. The transformation wasn't just clothing, it was a ritual. I experimented with subtle makeup first, smudging a light layer of foundation over my skin, tracing the line of my eyes with eyeliner that made my green irises pop. A light sweep of blush, careful contouring, a dab of Emma's lipstick that smelled faintly of cherry. It all came together to create an image that was both foreign and thrilling. Every stroke, every brush, made me feel lighter, freer, yet vulnerable in a way I hadn't expected. At first, I couldn't believe I was enjoying it. I told myself it was just curiosity, a harmless experiment. But the more I dressed, the more I felt a strange sense of completeness. My hands trembled slightly as I adjusted a hemline or smoothed a strand of hair from my face. Each mirror glance reflected someone who was both me and not me, my body transformed, my mind buzzing with a new confidence that scared and exhilarated me at the same time. Internal conflict became a constant companion. On one hand, there was shame, the fear of being discovered, the worry that Emma might laugh or feel betrayed by my secret indulgence. On the other, there was an undeniable thrill, a craving that gnawed at me and refused to be ignored. I couldn't help but imagine how Emma would react if she saw me fully transformed. Would she embrace it, tease me more, or be horrified? The uncertainty made each session feel like walking a tightrope over a pit of fire. As the week passed, I grew bolder. I tried on high heels for the first time, wincing as my ankles protested the unfamiliar angle. But there was something intoxicating about the way my posture shifted, how each step became deliberate, elegant, deliberate in a way that my usual self had never been. I swayed cautiously across the room, practicing the gait I had seen Emma use countless times, her confident strut now mirrored in my own reflection. My reflection felt alive, almost mocking in its perfection, daring me to continue this secret indulgence. The suspense of being alone added to the thrill. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant noise from the apartment hallway made my heart hammer. I imagined Emma returning early, catching me mid-transformation, and the panic would spike. My mind raced with excuses, apologies, and even fantasies of her delight. That tension, that delicious uncertainty, became the backbone of my secret world. It was dangerous, yes, but irresistible. One evening, I took it further. I laid out a complete outfit from Emma's wardrobe, an A-line skirt, a silk blouse, her favorite necklace, and a pair of elegant heels. I applied makeup carefully, even curling my hair in a style Emma often wore for work events. Standing in front of the mirror, I barely recognized myself. I was Ryan, yes, but also something else, a reflection of Emma's playful vision, a twin she had imagined. The image was stunning, and I felt a rush of pride mixed with fear. I practiced small gestures in the mirror, twirling the skirt, flipping my hair, adjusting my posture. Each motion brought a flutter of nervous excitement, a sense of empowerment that was intoxicating. I whispered to myself, testing the voice I imagined Emma might find cute. It felt absurd and exhilarating, and I realized that this wasn't just about clothing. It was about stepping into a new identity, exploring a side of me that had always been buried under routine, self-consciousness, and fear of judgment. Then came the first near discovery. I heard the click of Emma's keys in the door earlier than expected. My stomach dropped. I froze mid-twirl, clutching the blouse to my chest as she entered the apartment. Her eyes widened slightly, a faint smile tugging at her lips, but she didn't comment immediately. Instead, she leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, and watched me, her gaze both teasing and knowing. "I see someone's been experimenting," she said lightly, her tone teasing but calm. My heart pounded in my chest. Panic, embarrassment, and thrill collided in a chaotic rush. I stammered, unsure how to explain. But she laughed softly, shaking her head. "Relax, you look amazing. Honestly, I never thought it would suit you, but you really do make a cute twin." Her approval sent shivers down my spine. The tension released in a wave of relief, excitement, and anticipation. That night, Emma's casual teasing evolved into playful instructions. "Try this with that," she said, handing me different skirts and tops. "You'd look perfect if you twirled like this." Each suggestion, each playful command, blurred the lines further between her vision and my secret indulgence. The thrill of transformation became addictive. I began planning entire weekends around secret dressing sessions, experimenting with new styles, accessories, and makeup techniques. Each session was both an exploration of self and a test of nerve, a delicate dance between secrecy, excitement, and the intoxicating pleasure of being someone else. By the end of the month, my reflection had changed almost as much as my confidence. The shy, tentative curiosity had evolved into deliberate playfulness. I could catch myself in the mirror, studying the reflection, marveling at the duality, the careful balance between Ryan and the twin Emma had envisioned. I felt a strange power in that duality, a dangerous thrill in knowing that this secret life was mine alone, but also shared, in a sense, with the woman who had unknowingly opened the door. Yet the tension never fully disappeared. Every session carried the constant risk of discovery, the lingering fear that Emma, or someone else, might find out. And with each step deeper into this world, I found that I wanted more. Not just the clothes, not just the makeup, but the identity, the freedom, the thrill of being both myself and someone entirely new. The build-up of these experiences, these secret experiments, set the stage for what was coming next, a series of suspenseful, emotionally charged events that would challenge my courage, push the boundaries of our relationship, and force me to confront how far I was willing to go to embrace this thrilling, forbidden transformation. The following weekend, the tension reached a fever pitch. Emma had invited a few of her close friends over for a casual game night, and I had promised to help set up. But behind the cheerful preparations, I was consumed by anxiety. This was the ultimate test. Could I maintain my secret persona while surrounded by people who knew me only as Ryan? Could I keep my dual identity intact when everyone was laughing, talking, and watching? I waited until the last possible moment, ensuring Emma was distracted with arranging snacks and drinks before retreating to the bedroom. My heart pounded as I pulled out the carefully selected outfit, a soft pastel skirt, a delicate blouse with lace trim, and the pair of heels I had been practicing in all week. I stared at myself in the mirror, the reflection showing someone who is not quite Ryan, but not entirely Emma either, a perfect hybrid that made my pulse race. With trembling hands, I applied makeup, subtle contouring to soften my jawline, a touch of blush, eyeliner to accentuate my eyes, and finally, the lipstick that made my lips shimmer with a rosy glow. The scent of it lingered in the air, sweet and daring, a constant reminder of the thrill I was indulging in. As I slipped into the skirt and blouse, I felt a mix of excitement and terror. Every step, every adjustment was a gamble. The first moments of the evening were deceptively calm. Guests arrived, laughing and joking, and I moved among them with a cautious grace, careful to keep my posture elegant and movements feminine. Emma gave me an encouraging smile, whispering, "You're perfect," and my heart nearly leapt out of my chest. Her words were both validation and temptation, a mixture that made the stakes feel even higher. But suspense doesn't wait. It struck in small, terrifying ways. A friend leaned closer to whisper something, almost brushing my arm, and I felt my pulse spike. Another friend laughed at a joke I didn't hear, and I had to stifle a nervous giggle, careful not to give away my secret. Each interaction was a tightrope walk, a test of composure that made my palms sweat and knees wobble in the heels. Then came the unexpected obstacle. The doorbell rang. Emma excused herself to answer, leaving me momentarily exposed. My mind raced as I imagined the possibilities: a neighbor, a delivery, or worse, someone who might recognize me in this new guise. I clutched my clutch bag like a lifeline, heart hammering in my chest. Through the crack of the door, a familiar face appeared, my cousin Liam, who had come by unannounced. His eyes widened slightly as they took in the outfit, the heels, the subtle makeup. Ryan," he said, hesitation in his voice. I froze, panic surging. Could I explain without revealing the secret? I tried to smile, to make it seem casual, but my voice wavered. Emma returned just in time, sensing the tension. "Hey, Liam," she said warmly. "I see you two are already acquainted." She didn't glance at me suspiciously, yet, but the tension was palpable. My cousin, unaware of my secret, chatted casually, his eyes occasionally flicking toward me with curiosity. I forced myself to nod, laugh, and respond, maintaining the persona that had become second nature over the past weeks. The evening continued, but the anxiety didn't let up. Each glance from Emma's friends, each subtle gesture, felt like a test. I moved carefully, laughed politely, and made small talk, all while feeling the constant pressure of keeping my secret intact. The heels pinched my feet, the skirt brushed against my thighs, but I ignored the discomfort. Every sensation reminded me that this was a performance, a delicate balancing act between reality and fantasy. Then came the symbolic moment that would define the night. I was reaching for a snack on the low table when one heel caught on the rug. Time seemed to slow as I stumbled, arms flailing, the skirt riding up precariously. In a split second, I had to make a choice: panic, fall, and reveal myself, or recover gracefully. I steadied myself, smoothing the skirt and maintaining composure, my face flushed with adrenaline. No one seemed to notice, but the incident left my heart racing, a vivid reminder of how fragile this double life was. The stakes rose further when Emma leaned closer, whispering, "You're incredible. I can't believe how natural you are." Her words, meant as a compliment, felt like a spark to a powder keg. I was exhilarated, terrified, and deeply conflicted all at once. Could I continue this charade, or was the risk of exposure too great? Every fiber of my being screamed both yes and no. The unexpected twist arrived when Liam excused himself to use the restroom and returned moments later with his phone out. "Hey, check this out," he said, holding it toward Emma and me. A photo of me, from a previous casual gathering, popped up, clearly taken before any of this experimentation. His friends began comparing it to my current appearance. My stomach dropped. Would they recognize me? Would they realize what I had been hiding? Emma, ever perceptive, caught my eye and whispered, "Relax, I've got this." She took over, joking about how people can surprise you with different looks, deftly deflecting the situation. Her intervention saved me, but the near discovery sent adrenaline surging through my body. I realized that my secret was more vulnerable than I had imagined. The risk, the thrill, the possibility of exposure, it all combined into a heady, intoxicating rush. By the end of the night, I was exhausted yet euphoric. The adrenaline had worn off, replaced by a warm, satisfying glow of accomplishment. I had navigated a high-stakes social situation while maintaining my secret persona, experiencing the ultimate blend of fear and exhilaration. I felt closer to Emma than ever, bound by the secret we now shared in subtle, unspoken ways. But as I collapsed onto the bed later, removing the heels and carefully folding the skirt, I knew this was only the beginning. The thrill of the transformation, the danger of exposure, and the intoxicating pleasure of embodying this new identity had become addictive. And with each passing day, the line between Ryan and the twin Emma had envisioned blurred further, leaving me both exhilarated and anxious for the next challenge. The climax of this journey didn't end with resolution. It ended with anticipation. Every glance, every whispered comment, every risk taken had pushed me further into a world I never expected to inhabit, a world that was exciting, dangerous, and utterly consuming. And as I lay there, heart still pounding from the night's events, I realized that the real suspense was only beginning. The house had finally quieted. Emma's friends had gone home, the laughter and chatter replaced by the soft hum of the night. I sank onto the edge of the bed, still in my outfit, heels kicked off and skirt slightly wrinkled. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me, a blend of Ryan and the twin Emma had imagined. I traced my fingers over the delicate fabric, the sensation both grounding and intoxicating. My heart still raced from the evening's suspense. Every interaction, every near mishap, played in my mind like a slow-motion reel. I had survived the high-stakes game night without revealing my secret, but the adrenaline hadn't faded. It lingered, a constant pulse reminding me how fragile this dual life was. Emma appeared quietly behind me, her presence a comforting yet electrifying force. "You were amazing tonight," she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from my face. Her eyes sparkled with mischief and something deeper, something that made my pulse spike again. "I knew you could do it. You really are my twin, you know?" I swallowed hard, caught between embarrassment and thrill. Her words felt like a promise, binding me to this identity in ways I hadn't fully anticipated. But even as I smiled, the shadow of uncertainty loomed. How long could I maintain this secret? Would one careless move undo everything? Then my phone buzzed. I reached for it, expecting a casual notification, but it wasn't. A message from an unknown number lit up the screen. "I saw you tonight. We need to talk." My stomach dropped. Panic mixed with excitement. Who could it be? A neighbor? Someone who had recognized me? Or worse, someone who knew Emma and might expose everything? My hands trembled as I read the message again, the words burning into my mind. Emma leaned over my shoulder, peering at the screen. Her expression shifted slightly, a hint of concern flashing in her eyes. "Do you know who it is?" she asked softly. I shook my head, feeling the tension coil tighter in my chest. "No, I don't," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "But I think they might know." Her hand rested on mine, a grounding touch, yet even that could not erase the storm brewing inside me. The thought of being exposed, of losing control over this secret world we had created, sent shivers down my spine. And yet, the thrill lingered, a dangerous allure I couldn't resist. I glanced at the mirror again, at the reflection that had carried me through the night. The twin Emma had imagined, this persona, was no longer just a fantasy. It was a reality, and now it was at risk. My mind raced with possibilities. Could I play it off if they confronted me? Should I hide, or reveal the truth? The tension was unbearable, a knot in my chest that refused to loosen. Emma's voice cut through my spiraling thoughts. "Whatever happens, we'll handle it together," she said, her tone both reassuring and daring. "You don't have to face this alone." Her words were comforting, but the unknown message lingered like a shadow over us. The night was no longer a simple game or experiment. It had become a test of courage, secrecy, and trust. And deep down, I knew that once this door opened, nothing would be the same again. I picked up the phone once more, my finger hovering over the screen. Every instinct screamed caution, yet part of me was drawn to the danger, to the thrill of facing the unknown. What would happen if I replied? Would I be safe, or would everything unravel? The uncertainty was intoxicating, and the suspense unbearable. Emma's eyes met mine, a silent question in their depths. "Do you want to see what they want?" she asked. I hesitated, heart pounding. The stakes had never been higher. One wrong move could shatter the delicate balance of my secret life, exposing the twin persona that had become so intoxicating, so vital. And yet, the pull of curiosity, of risk, of thrill, was impossible to resist. I took a deep breath, gripping the phone tightly. My reflection in the mirror, half Ryan, half Emma's twin, stared back at me, a warning and a challenge at once. The line between reality and fantasy had blurred completely, leaving me on the edge of discovery, exhilaration, and fear. And then I pressed reply. The screen lit up, waiting. The words I would type next, the decision I would make, could change everything. But just as my finger hovered over the keyboard, the doorbell rang. A sudden, sharp chime that sliced through the quiet night. My heart leapt into my throat. Emma froze beside me, eyes wide. The sound echoed through the house, each ring a reminder that the world outside our secret bubble was still very real and very threatening. I glanced at the mirror one last time. My twin persona, perfectly composed just moments ago, now seemed fragile, vulnerable, on the brink of exposure. Every instinct screamed to hide, to run, to protect the secret we had nurtured. But a part of me, a daring, reckless part, thrived on this tension, this thrill that had become irresistible. Emma whispered, "Don't move." And in that suspended heartbeat, the night held its breath. The mystery visitor, the unknown message, and the fragile line between my two identities all converged in a moment of perfect suspense. Would I survive this test? Would my secret remain safe? Or would it finally be exposed? The answer lay just beyond the door. And that was where the story paused, teetering on the edge of revelation, excitement, and danger.